Hi and welcome back to Alistair Davies Golf. Today's video is all about improving your club face control through impact. Now ultimately this is going to give you more control of the golf ball. As I've said in previous videos, the club face is responsible for 75 to 80% of its initial flight, depending on what club we're looking at in the golf swing. So with an iron, like today I've got a 7-9 here, it's about 75%. With a driver it'd be 80 to 85%. And with a putter it'd be even more. So basically the club face is a huge role in the ball flight when we're looking at what we produce on the golf course and how we can control that golf ball better on the golf course. So one of the causes of this is basically, I see this a lot with students and online lessons, is basically what I would call a high handle at contact. And in Trackman terms we call this a vertical shaft plane at impact. So in Trackman terms, what we generally see is tour averages around about 60, and when I teach golfers, quite often I can see it even into the 70s. In 20 years coaching full time, I've seen one player return under the original shaft plane. So the original shaft plane would be this line here. I've seen one player return under that line in 20 years of coaching. I've seen a few very good ball strikers return on that shaft line, but 99% of the players would be above, and the amount above you'll tend to see vary depending on the level of golfer. Now the worse the golfer, the higher the angle. The more people tend to come over the top, the higher the angle, in order to get that club face back onto some semblance of control at impact and path. Now as we raise the handle at impact, you'll see here that the club face is influenced to point to the right. So that's not something we necessarily want. And that's what we call face plane tilt. Now obviously with the handle being lower, it's influenced to be much more left, which has a much greater effect on the ball flight, but it still has an effect on the golf ball flight. The other issues I see with it when we have this high handle at impact is the wrists get very arched. And when the wrist gets very arched, it's very difficult to rotate them. So the club face control gets very limited. So we either get what I call flappiness, or we get a club face that's very open. And from a power point of view, it's not the most powerful way to swing the golf club either. So what we're looking to do with today's video and this tip and this drill is to get your handle lower at impact. And I'm going to talk through two ways in which to do this. The first way will be more or less doing practice swings where we try and feel the heel of the club, so almost the shank part of the club, hits the ground. And if you look at the divot I've created there, if you can see it, it might be difficult to see. It's a very narrow divot. And that's because I'm just using this sharp edge to hit the ground. If you wanted to take it to a different stage of doing this, you could use an impact board like you'd have custom fitting on and put some tape on the bottom of your club and try and mark it in the heel of the club. Another way of doing it is you could use a super flat club and practice with that. So that would get you used to returning your hands lower, because the equipment, the environment will lead you into that kind of direction of swing. The other way to do it is using the little alignment rod like I've got here. Now I've placed this alignment rod at a pretty similar angle to the shaft angle at address. I've obviously placed it higher to give it some leeway, because as I said, most people would come over the top and hit this. And I made it slightly back from the golf ball so it's pre-impact rather than exactly on impact. So we're trying to influence the club before it gets to the ball slightly. And we can move this around a tiny bit, but you know, it's a rough template. So what I'm looking to do really is make a practice swing and try and get that again, that heel of the club, the shank of the club, to hit the ground and that narrow divot. And then I'm looking to go and hit the golf ball, probably with slow swings initially, and swing underneath this stick to get the feeling of getting our handle lower impact. Now, in order to hit the ball straight, we still need to rotate our arms and the body through the ball and release the club, for sure. So I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking purely about the handle today, how we can lower that number. So let's have a go at a little shot. I'm going to try and hit this again about 50–60% of my power. And you see there, knowing you're hitting that stick. But it still influenced me, it still was a factor in me. It's a constraint, as we call it. So, and we have to have this shaft in the position where it would be a constraint to influence our practice. And the idea then would be when we play with our normal golf swing. But the routine might well be again on the golf course when we play, that we would do that practice swing. Heel of the club hits the ground and rotate through the golf ball, and then go ahead and hit the shot with that same kind of feelings. So that would be the practice, and that would be the process for the golf course in order to lower your handle at impact and get more club face control at impact. Ultimately, to hit the ball straight, we're looking at kind of three elements: the direction we swing in, the club face direction, and the contact point. Other things influence trajectory and stuff like that, but those three things directionally, so where we hit the golf ball, are the major influences. Have a go at this drill. Chat down below, let me know how you get on. Let me know how it changes your ball flight. Also, let me know what other videos you'd like to see from me. If you've enjoyed the video, please click like. I really appreciate if you can do that. Also, join me on my journey and subscribe. It'd be great to have you on board. I post 3 videos a week, and if you click the notifications button, you will get to see and hear all the times I release videos, so you keep up to date with all the latest videos as we go along. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your golf, and see you again here soon.